UT Martin head coach Jason Simpson joins us. He's the dean of coaches in this conference, and this never gets old. But this time of year, I'm sure your body, we're talking about weather, but I'm sure your body is telling you it's time to play football.
No, it is absolutely. It is certainly different now though compared to like 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, to where, to be honest with you, summer for FCS coaches is pretty continuous. The FBS guys, I mean, they certainly have tough challenges, but because their Junes are just jam packed with recruiting and official visits, which we do that on a moderate level, but our players are here, and then our players are here in July, to where the FBS guys usually take a couple of weeks of vacation in July. Don't necessarily have the luxury that allow my coaches to do that. We got to get guys, ready and stuff. So after May, yeah, that June and July just kind of bleeds right in, to the, all the way through December.
So, have you been able to get away with the family? I know you've got young men in different places.
Yeah. Well, no, it's kind of a staycation the week of July 4th this year, because this was a year to be able to take the youngest son and get him around in June to some different camps, around the country. And so, so you kind of have to, and that was fun. I wouldn't take it back, for anything else.
How is it different from Ty's tenure with Graham? Are there similarities or differences for? And we're speaking, by the way, I'm sorry, Jason. We're speaking about Jason's two sons, one of which we're going to talk about in detail here in just a moment. But he's got a young man that plays just like his brother before him in the same stadium you coach at. That's such a cool situation.
No, it is. It's been fun to watch them and hear them fussing about, the Thai state championship team. He'll tell Graham that my team could beat your team that played for the state championship this year. And so it's good to hear that and the rivalry they have going back and forth. But no, I would tell you certainly at every level, but seeing it on the FBS level, especially with quarterbacks, has certainly changed. And the NIL has done that. 4 years ago, before the NIL, and you got to go about 3 years before that, ninth grade quarterbacks, developing relationships with them was
Yep.
important, right? Uh, and it still has some importance, but not the same, because you can add one more zero to that NIL contract, right, and ask for forgiveness for not having the relationship when you were in the ninth grade, or making that offer early and things like that. So I think that's the number one thing that I've seen, is that the Power Four schools aren't as, you know, they don't have to recruit ninth and 10th graders as hard as they did in years past, because of the contracts and the money that's involved going forward.
So we think we know who QB1 is at Alabama. And that would be your son. But I got a little problem. I got an empty sheet here as to who your QB1 is going to be this fall. So why don't you let us in on what's going on campus, particularly at that position?
All right. Well, the two guys that are getting the first and second team reps are Jace Bauer and Julian Calvez. And Julian was here with us last year, and by the middle of the year he was the backup, but did get a whole lot of playing time. But Jace Bauer was added. Jace is a transfer from Central Michigan and Sam Houston State. His dad's we got a lot in common. His dad's a head high school coach, so he's a coach's son. His dad was an NFL scout for, a long time as well. So football is in their family, kind of like my sons. And we've been real pleased with Jace. We're excited about, what both those guys bring to the table. And they know this. If we played tomorrow, yeah, Jace would get the start, and we would go. We still got, fall camp, and both those guys will continue competing. But no, we're not disappointed in our quarterback position. It's new. We go back 4 years ago at Keon Howard, who was a player of the year in the league in 21. Dresser Wynn, who's going, I think tomorrow, back to the Rams for year 3 with the Rams mini training camp. And then Kincaid Dent for the last 2 years. So we've had some quality quarterbacks, in the last 4 years, and I think could be the same this year.
Let's go to running back. He's got another transfer there. Armani Goodwin from UAB. That's a position. I mean, to have a running back and a quarterback that could
Yeah.
potentially be new in your backfield on the surface looks concerning.
Well, like I said in the other parts of the interview, we've had four different backs. Okay, the last 4 years that all rushed for 1,000 yards. Okay, going back to Peyton Logan in 21, Zach Wallace in 22, Sam Franklin in 23, and then Patrick Smith in 24. Okay, so so we're used to this. All right, but that room as a group, I'm not so sure it's not deeper than some of the years. Okay, now what we're trying to see is are any of them as dynamic or consistent as those four other guys. And but we've added John Gentry, transfer from Sam Houston State, as well as who's a back that's got some bigger size. It's probably 200, 12, 15 pounds. Okay, he's a senior. You already mentioned Armani. Armani was a four-star guy. Went to LSU out of high school. Okay, and played there for 2 years, and then UAB. Chris Franklin, who's Sam Franklin's younger brother, is going on year 3 here with us, and he's a very dynamic player, and we're excited about him. Last year, he was our second, third back. So although and Tommy, a transfer from junior college in California, all four of those guys are fit the bill of what you've seen from a UTM running back the last 4 years. So, I feel confident about the production from that position.
All right, the defensive side of the ball, we'll see a few new faces as well. Kind of bring us up to date there.
Yeah, like I said, we returned the four secondary players, okay, and then there's some depth at the corner spot. The backup safeties, there's some new names, but probably deeper in the secondary, especially across the board than we were last year. But the front seven are new names for sure. The linebacker spot, we lost 3 quality all conference linebackers last year, a couple All Americans. Okay, but Todd Brada transfer from Lamar, had over 60 tackles last year for them. He fits in the mode of the linebackers you've seen at UT Martin. Shamari Ware's been here 6 years for us and knows what we expect from that position. Corey Yeoman, a transfer from Temple and Hampton. Pooney is transfer from West Georgia. There's some physicality in that spot, and Diz is a transfer from Oklahoma State. It's been here for a couple of years, so we look the same. The guys just haven't played a whole lot. All of them in UTM headgear. All right, but they're good players. I've seen a lot from them in the spring and the summer. In the D-line spot, like I said, we lost 6 guys. 1 to graduation that got an NFL camp, and the other 5 to the transfer portal. Quality players. So we're a little bit smaller than we've been up front last year. Probably more athletic, all right, than we've been. There's some guys, so coaches know we have to do some different things. Maybe we have to slant the front a little bit more, be a little bit more aggressive in some things. Maybe don't sit there as much as we've done in the past and been able to control the line of scrimmage. But every year, that's our job as a coaching staff to adjust. But in that defensive line, Tommy, Toby Camp, Shabari Dawkins, those are the guys that I've seen out there being able to make the plays and play at a quality OVC level.
So 2 quick last questions before we go. We talk about transfers, players coming and going, but Kevin Bannon, I want to highlight him because he's been with you for a very long time. Well, the entire time you've been at UT Martin.
Yeah.
How unique and how important has that been to you?
No, very important. Kevin, I think, was gone for 1 year. He went to Marshall as a graduate assistant and then over to Arkansas for a couple months until our full-time offensive line job came open. So I think he played for us, and then he GA'd, and then he left. So he probably was only gone about, a year or 2. I can't remember exactly, right? But he's been here probably about, I don't know, what is it, 13 years in a row or now, so, he married a girl from Weakley County. He's got 3 kids here now. First of all, from a family man, I really enjoy seeing, Kevin's a guy that I coached, as a dad now, and he's got 2 boys and a daughter, and now his oldest son, Knox, is playing for the middle school here, where my son's played, so, seeing him, and I tell him, if you don't go watch him practice, I'm going to be upset at you, and so, he gets to go see his son practice, and they'll come back over, to the office and stuff. So, that's pretty neat. Or to see his kids on the bus, and I knew Kevin when he was a 19-year-old sophomore, when he played for us. But as far as a coach, go look and see how many, one, where we rank in the league on offense. Look and see how many offensive linemen we've had make all conference or all American. Yes, we do go through, we coaches get a lot of opportunities that come through UT Martin. But part of the reason I've been able to keep this thing going, and a big part of the success we had is Kevin Bannon, because on offense, whether I have a new receiver coach, running back coach, whatever, Kevin and I run this offense together. And, so the verbiage has been able to stay the same. He knows what I expect. I know what he expects. But besides just the X's and O's, he also helps me run this program, the scholarship limits, the financial aid, the academic components of it. Just been instrumental in our success, and I really appreciate him. And I hope one day in his future, he gets an opportunity to be a head coach. I think he'd do an outstanding job.
Well, thanks for your comments on that, because I don't often bring assistant coaches in,
Yeah.
but it's kind of been a little bit of a theme today. I've come across a couple of different. One real quick question. We are out of time, but you're going
Mhm.
west to open the season twice. How did that come about?
I don't know. I just go where they tell me. But we were looking for a way to continue to grow our program and do some different projects here at UT Martin. And got a new weight room going in, and that costs money. And the quickest way to do that is with these opportunities, these guarantee games. And so that's how it came about. And going to Oklahoma State, going to UTEP. Southern Illinois, Missouri State, and then SEMOs, those first 5 games. So it's a challenging schedule, but to have all 5 right there together, we've got a work cut out for us.
Well, I think you got better hair than Mike Gundy. I don't know about Scotty Walden, but we'll end it at that.
Hey, well, my paycheck's not as big as either one of those, but I appreciate being able to compete with those guys.
Hey, got to win somehow. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.